Hi, I'm Brian and welcome to another episode of Hiking With Me. Today we're going to be doing a trig point that's actually not in the book. It's Clack Hill trig point, so we don't know whether they're going to call this the 0 trig point or the 49th trig point, but we're going to be doing a 9-mile walk today and we're going to be visiting the churches and all that lot. So our first port of call is St Nicholas's Church. So this is St Nicholas's Church in Little Bowden, and look at that, perfect. Walk straight up the path, and there's the first benchmark. That's a nice easy one to find. With a lovely graveyard. St Nicholas Church here in Little Bowden is one of those places that feels quietly ancient, built in the 13th century and later restored by the Victorians, like quite a few churches were back in that time. There should be loads of detail here if you know where to look, and the thing is, I don't half the time. You can have a look around the door frames and that. You sometimes find apotropaic markings, which I don't tend to have much luck finding. I do find the odd benchmark, which is quite good. But as you can see, there's an extension here. This is probably more modern, but it's in keeping with the church, which is really nice. In fact, looking at the church, you can see the bells. Unfortunately, I can't find any apotropaic markings found here. And like most churches nowadays, it's locked. Churches like this are full of small details if you know where to look. Around doorways and window arches, you'll find apotropaic marks, ritual protection symbols carved into the stone to ward off evil spirits or bad luck. They remind us how fear and faith often went hand in hand. It's also a good reminder that many of these old churches sit on older sacred grounds before the bells even rang. There may have well been something here long before Christianity arrived. From here, we're going to head down to the Brampton Valley Way, heading south, following the path of the railway that once linked Northampton and Market Harborough. As we leave the church, we go back onto Rectory Road, basically doubling back on ourselves, and we'll be walking along here and hopefully be picking up the disused train line and heading to the tunnel. When you head down Rectory Lane, you'll come to Scotland Road. When you come to the school at Scotland Road, there's a path down the side there. You turn right down here, so you're walking down the side of the school. And this will take us to the disused train line. Looks like we're getting somewhere now. Just up there is the bank for the disused train line now. Obviously it's a very well used walk. So when you go through the park, it's actually signposted. Actually, it's not signposted. The Brampton Valley Way is now quiet. Just the sounds of the wind and the bird song and the traffic. But it used to hum with the noise of steam engines, freight wagons. The line is now closed. It was closed back in the 1980s, but the trail remains a green corridor through the countryside. Once part of Northamptonshire, it saw Bronze Age settlements and survived Viking raids and Norman devastation. By the 19th century, it was a thriving parish with its own church and school, officially joining Leicestershire in 1888. Little Bowden was once a key junction on the London and North Western Railway, one of Britain's largest rail companies in the 19th century. Built to connect Market Harborough with Northampton, it served passengers and freight for over a century. Its 1879 signal box managed the busy line until closure in the late 20th century. Today, its legacy thrives on through preserved structures and heritage railways. I'm not too sure how much further it is to the tunnel, but we've just reached 2 miles on this walk. At the moment, it's not the most exciting walk along here. This is the first structure that we came across. What if you ever do this walk? Nice little tea room just here, Waterloo Farm Leisure. Well, that's a handy little find if you're ever doing this walk. The little tea room's on here. Doesn't look like it's badly priced either. I'm on the train bridge. This is a dual arch or twin arch bridge. Obviously had trains going that way, and that way be interesting to get over there, but I'm not going to attempt it. But just shows you how busy this line would have been. Actually, I think we can get to it this side. But there's a nice little bench there. But that's quite a nice little train bridge in the middle of nowhere. So we're now coming up to the tunnel. I thought it was going to be a lot more exciting than this, but it's not. I suppose if you didn't want to go through it, you could go up there and along the top, but why would you want to miss out something like this? So let's see what the film is with this. That's better, so this is with my phone. So now entering the tunnel, which is 500 metres long. I thought it might have been all closed up or weren't allowed to go through the tunnel, but it's actually nice to see a tunnel like this still in use. As you can see, way up ahead there's a cyclist. I don't see any air shafts in here. Then when we come out of this tunnel, we turn left, hopefully. And as we entered this tunnel, that brought us up to the 3 mile marker. So if you're going to start from Little Bowden and walk to the tunnel, obviously I took 1 or 2 wrong turnings, but it's basically 3 miles here. So if you're just going to do it there and back, simple maths, 6 miles. But then you've got to allow for walking through the tunnel if you wanted to. But out of all my walks, it's going to be a loop. There's no air shafts yet. Surprisingly little graffiti. And I can't see any refuge spots yet from the workers used to be in here. Getting a bit wet here, it's dripping here. Let's see how dark it would be in here without a torch. One refuge spot. Oh, talking about that. No, it's not. Unless it's been bricked up. That would have been a refuge spot just there. So if you had a train come, you'd have a fair way to run. But I'll tell you what, good echoes in here. Looks like you come up to an air shaft just here. Actually, that works quite well. A bit different to the Inglesby tunnel, where that was all closed off and you had to basically go through a bit of a fence. Well, when I say bit of a fence, there's all cordoned off so you couldn't get in there apart from a little hole. But at least that had a bit more excitement to it. And also supposedly haunted, but like many of my walks, never find anything. Although like most, the people comment and say, what do you really do if you did see a ghost? Another refuge spot, looks like there's somebody in there. And we're almost out. And hopefully we can turn up here somewhere. You can tell that summer's almost over. Puddles begin to appear. Unfortunately, it looks like my route takes us up here. We want to go to Great Oxendon. Obviously, it's going to be a bit of a struggle. I wouldn't expect anybody to do this route, but I've got to get the roadies up there. As you can see, bit of a challenge. Don't like doing these things on my own, because if an accident happens, nobody's going to know I'm here. I'm going to make my way up there. I can see people have been here before, which is always a good sign. Well, that's the hard part done. I hope. This is what I could actually do with like walking sticks to get a bit of purchase on the ground. So according to my thing, there's a road up there. I'm not going to film for the moment, I just want to get through here. If I'd known what I was letting myself in for, I wouldn't have come here, but I thought I'd take a little trip to Great Oxendon and have a little look around this village. When I got to the top, there's a couple of people at the top there, and I said, God, that was hard work getting up there. And I said, yeah, if you'd taken this path around the side here, it would have been a lot easier. So obviously I didn't know that, but I made it to the top. Quick look at Great Oxendon, and we're going to head back, well, that direction. But Great Oxendon is just over there. Got to visit it because I've never been here before. The George pub in Great Oxendon smells really nice, making me hungry. But that's the George in Great Oxendon. We'll be picking that footpath up again later. But we're going to go up to the church first, which I think is about a quarter of a mile up here. One thing I like about some of these churches is that as you walk up towards them, you begin to get an eye for these benchmarks, and just walking up the path, it's on the corner. So this was a nice easy one to find, just over here. So that's the benchmark at St Helen's Church at Great Oxendon. Well, the church is locked, but some interesting markings around the door. It's worth coming just for this. I have no idea what all that lot means, but that's amazing. And that's 1707. It's a shame that you can't get in. Some of this might be graffiti. Okay, that's real, 1631. I don't think that's any significance. If anybody knows anything about it, it'd be brilliant to find out more. And look at that, 1683, is that real? Now, obviously something like that's all recent. We got around there. What a nice final resting place underneath a tree. Now to have a little look round. Got a good sized tower. St Helen's Church in Great Oxendon dates back to the 13th century. Its weatherstone walls and stained glass windows holding over 700 years of history. Unfortunately got inside, but you would find medieval carvings and faint apotropaic markings. But we've actually found those quite reminders of the fear and faith of those who once worshipped here. A peaceful place yet alive with whispers of the past. It's actually quite interesting to find those markings. Whether they're actually apotropaic markings, I have no idea. Oh, I think it was actually worthwhile coming here. Managed to get benchmarked, found some apotropaic markings, and now to head back onto Braybrooke. I can't find a route to the Mid-Shires Way, so you've got to walk back down to Great Oxendon and cut through that way. So once you've been to St Helen's Church, you head back down the Harbour Road, or also known as the A508, and you'll see a sign for the Jubilee Way. Sorry, change that. You'll see a sign for the Jurassic Way. We turn left down here, and this will take us to our next destination. Just before you get to the sign that says Tunnel End, which stands out quite well, there's a sign there, not a very good angle, but that's your Jurassic Way footpath. It's actually impossible to see. Wondered what that was. Giving out a bit of a kick. Just down there is the entrance to the tunnel. Not too sure what these are, they look like crab apples. Let me just check my map, that was supposed to be going this way. Yep, that's right. So there's many different ways that you could do this walk and go to Great Oxendon. Before you actually go to the tunnel, through the tunnel, you climb up, go to Great Oxendon, come back and go through the tunnel. There's so many different routes, so many different ways. If you can tell me of any good routes, in a second, this looks like a trap. We're now back on the Mid-Shires Way. The last time we actually did the Mid-Shires Way was on the last walk when we did the two trig points, the 6 Hills and the Keythorpe trig point. So we keep picking up all these different paths dotted around Leicestershire. It's amazing how they're all linked up. A bit like the Ivanhoe Way. Well, according to my video, according to the map, I got the hedge just over there to my right, so I've got to go diagonally across the field. So straight over there, not following that. So I'm assuming we're going to head to that telegraph pole. I was going to cross this field at the wrong angle. I wasn't far out, but instead of crossing the field at 1 o'clock, I was crossing it at 2 o'clock. But I found the waypoint just there. So across this bridge, and a load of pheasant. I know you can't see them. We've got to head to that house over there. Don't know what those are over there, those look like buzzards. So it just came up to 5 miles. So by rights, we're halfway round. But you know what my map reading's like, I'm plotting. I'm plotting. Probably still got, well, I don't mind if we've got 6 miles left, but it's been quite a hard walk this because it's been quite hilly really. Lodge. We're going to go by this copse. And there should be an entrance, I think it's down there. We go through there, we walk past Waterloo Lodge. So here's the entrance. So we follow this around here, and we're still on the Jurassic Way and the Mid-Shires Way. I'm assuming I'm walking along this part of the Mid-Shire Way, which feels timeless with its hedgerows twisted with hawthorn and elder, and the air, which I love this time of year, has that earthy smell to it. I didn't realise this part of Leicestershire. Well, actually, I think this part is actually Northamptonshire, but I suppose got all the valleys, well, it's the vales, and when you look around, it looks relatively flat, but you can see all the dips. It just goes up and down, up and down. Very undulating. It doesn't look that bad, but when you walk in it, it gets quite hilly. One thing I like about mile walks, because they're very obscure and all these hidden paths and forgotten trails and things like that, you never really see anybody. I've walked almost 6 miles and I came across the first 2 people that I've seen for a long time today. I think we're still about half a mile away from Braybrooke and we've just clocked 6 miles. Obviously when I say we, there's only me and you, obviously. So I've just done 6 miles. Well, I've made mistakes on what route I'm on, but looks like whatever I said it was, is all of them. Macmillan Way, Midshire Way, Jurassic Way. This is interesting. Got the little free library. Fresh farm eggs. That's lovely, that. We're now coming to Braybrooke, down what I assume is a green lane. We're going to turn right out Griffin Road and head down towards the pub. A little bit about Braybrooke. Braybrooke is a small Northamptonshire village with deep medieval roots. Once home to a remoted manor, Braybrooke Castle was fortified in 1304 by Thomas de Latimer and later passed to the Griffin family. Though the castle has long gone, traces of its moat and fish pond remains. The name itself means broad brook, and though every field has lanes, the echoes of ancient past still lingers. That must be the brook, Braybrooke. There's the old village hall. Bit of nowhere they've got CCTV, quite bad really. And there's the pub, the Swan. A rather inviting pub, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going to wait until I get to the cherry tree. Harrington. Once you swan past the Swan Inn, you'll see School Lane to your left hand side. Turn left down there and this should take you to the old castle ruins. Like as always, I didn't expect to see anything there, but you can't let these things pass by, can you? As you followed School Lane through Braybrooke, you come onto Desborough Road and you turn right, and hopefully we should see a glimpse of the old castle ruins, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that. Not really a lot to see, but there never is. So that's the site of the ruins of the old castle, and there's the church just up ahead. If I can find another way into that field, I'll have a look around the ruins, but too many fences over there. Probably for some of them going to be electric. So I'm going to head back into Braybrooke and to the church. As you leave Braybrooke, you cross over the River Jordan. Not many times you cross over the River Jordan, is it? Got to be careful. It's narrow along here and extremely busy. But as you can see, just up ahead is the church. All Saints Church, Braybrooke. The tower dates back to the 14th century, and like many old churches, it carried its own share of legends. Strange lights near the graveyard and a bell that's said to ring on a stormy night. So we've got Commonwealth graves here. I wonder how quickly we'll spot the benchmark. I don't know why I say we when there's only me. Let's have a look around the outside first. See whether we can actually find anything. I love these old door frames. There's a good old tower. What do you think? They were built in the medieval times with wooden scaffold poles. Well, that's the third one today, being protected by a ladybird. So that's at All Saints Church, Braybrooke. It's an amazing church, this. When you look at the stonework, you see all these old doorways and you think, what's the history behind these? Obviously the church has probably had extensions and alterations over the decades. Well, over the centuries, really. So when you go inside, let's see if it's actually going to be open. If you could find out, you probably see where it's been extended. Some interesting markings there. Been quite good with all these markings, atopaic markings. Surprise, surprise, the Cellar Black used to say, it's locked. Do you know what? I'm a bit unsure about the route I've actually plotted, and also it's along the Market Harborough Road, which is stupidly busy. So I'm going to head out of Braybrooke along Newton Way. Pick up another path. So as you head up Newton Way, just before you get to Apin's house, you'll see a sign just to the left. You follow that down there. And it's signposted to Brampton Ash, Midshires Way, Macmillan Way. So we're still on it. Glad you don't have to walk along there all that long. That's a bit overgrown. But then it brings you out into open fields, and we should start seeing Market Harborough soon, hopefully. Probably that just over there. I think we go over that train bridge. We don't go over that train bridge. We go over that one, which looks relatively new. I'm glad I've actually decided to go this way. What's that Market Harborough Road? It looked terrible. It's not new. It looks new, but it's not new. They could do like one of those old government health warning, don't play on electric train lines. They get some kid with a balloon or something, or flying a kite. Next minute, it touches those lines and bursts into flames. So here's my own little government health warning, or a Brian health warning. Don't play on train lines. They are dangerous and stupid. There's a sign there. Danger, live wires below. We're not stopping those from arcing on this. So I think it's something like 50,000 volts. I'm not too sure. We've basically got to head that way and diagonally. We've basically come through here. Hang on a second, there's another train. Not that I'm going to get a focused shot of this, am I? I think that's going to London. So go through this gate. That's loud. And we head this way. When you're walking on the outside of the train line, it's quite easy to miss, but you'll see like a little cutting just down here to your left. And you go down here, and it brings you close to the train line. The train line's literally just up there. Then you turn right over the stile. Sometimes it's nice just to stand in the middle of a field and listen to the sound of all the birds. So beautiful. But we've got to head across that field full of sheep now. When I look at all this clover, I always think of either damp ground or some sort of issue along here, damp, boggy ground. But at the moment, it doesn't seem too bad. But I usually follow the people's footsteps. And hopefully it can't fail, because I don't want to be putting my foot in something unsavoury. And I don't mean like sheep poo, I mean like a big bog. And then all these sheep will basically follow the path I want to go. Well, this part of the path is actually quite easy to follow. It's a bit hard going underfoot, but it's definitely not muddy. You just have to be careful where you put your feet, because obviously it's uneven, but I suppose you could always walk along here. That's 9 miles. So I do think we've got about another 2 miles to go. Like I keep saying, it's hard to tell but that's a good climb up ahead. But then once it gets up here, we should be on Harbour Road, I think it is. Obviously, if I've got it wrong, which I would have got it wrong, I'll put down below. Honestly, this hill's a killer. Don't know if you can actually see it, but I'll film again when I get to the top. Absolutely knackered. That was steep. Got a good view though. So we're coming up to the A6 very, very shortly. We're heading northbound on the A6 to Clack Hill, which I think is only going to be about half a mile. But then we've still got about another mile to go back to the car. But obviously, before that, there's going to be a well-deserved pint at the Cherry Tree Inn. So this is the A6. I always often wonder when I'm holding my camera up, whether people think I've got a speed camera here. But we've got to cross over very shortly. So I'm not a fan of crossing over roads. I mean, walking on the roads with traffic coming up behind me. As you can see, we're now coming back into Leicestershire and a very, very dodgy road. But we've not got that far to walk along. There's a bridge height sign just there saying 13'3" bridge, 3/4 of a mile. And we're parked not far from there, so we've roughly got 1 mile to go. So should be back in 20 minutes, but taking into consideration, looking at the bench, looking at the trig point, I think we'll be back within about, say, 45 minutes. Eventually, we'll come to the roundabout. That sign posted for Little Bowden, and you've got the bridge sign for 13'6" bridge height. This is Kettering Road. And just over there, there's Clack Hill Trig point. That was my original way coming out, but I don't think we had to go that way because it's got dangerous death Market Harborough, 40 kilovolt substation. So I'm glad we didn't go that way, but just got to find a way up there now to have a look for this trig point. Hopefully there's a path up there somewhere. Well, there's got to be a path up there somewhere. So it's got my first glimpse of Clack Hill trig point. So it's got to find a way of getting in there now. Well, that's my 44th trig point. There's 58 in the book, but this one's not in the book, although it's in Leicestershire. As you can see, it's in mint condition. The plate S452, the spider's intact. The view round here, apart from the new build and the sprawling mass of Market Harborough, I think my car's parked just over there near the church. So I'd say that's about another mile. But as you can see, Market Harborough in the distance. Lovely views. I think Fox and Knox is over there somewhere. McDonald's over there somewhere else. Promised myself I'd never go to McDonald's ever again. Greg's is okay, but McDonald's and the A6 is just up there. So that's my 44th trig point. Well, just as I actually got to the benchmark, as I got to the trig point, I just clocked 10 miles, so that's 10 miles. So by the time I actually get back, it's going to be 11 miles, which isn't that bad, really nice 11-mile walk. And I still got the rest of the day. To tell the truth, I don't know what time it is. Let's just check what time it is. The time is 2 o'clock. So I set off at 9:30, 10 miles, that's including looking at all the churches and, going through the tunnels. It's amazing how much I've actually done today and how much waffling I've done to myself. That's a nice one. I love those thatched cottages. Time for a cheeky pint at the end of every walk. That was a nice refreshing pint at the cherry tree. Always like a pint of inches. I usually like beer, but when I say inches, it has to be inches. But I'm going to be back at the car in about another 2 minutes, hopefully. I think I can see it. I'm not too sure. I can see a white car, but I'm probably looking in fact, I'm looking in the wrong direction. My car is just there. That brings me to the end of another Trig walk. That's my 44th Trig walk. We've visited churchyards, tunnels and lost castles, and we've done just over 11 miles. So it's been a nice little walk. Hopefully if you enjoyed this walk, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time on my next Trig walk. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.